Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Batra, page 64a, top of the page, the word V'isol Kedaitach. V'isol Kedaitach, B'stem Kani Umka Veruma, Ki Gavo Esor Tzvachim, Ma'ahavi, Kevan Di Gavo Esor Tzvachim Chashiv. And if it enters your mind to say that when a house is sold without specification, the buyer requires the depth and the height of the house, then even when it has a parapet 10 handbreadths high, what of it? Why shouldn't the buyer acquire the roof? The Gemara answers, since the parapet is 10 handbreadths high, the roof is significant in its own right, and therefore, unless it is specifically included in the sale, the buyer does not acquire such a roof along with the house. Amar le Ravina Ravashi. Ravina says Ravashi, Tashima, come in here. Another proof. Damar Rish Lakish says, Oso Meres Amocher Be'ez Chavero, Amar Lamana Shed Yoeta, Yoan Sheli, Diota, Yoan Shelo. V'amrina on the Mai Halchasaras, V'ramar, Shi'im Ratzul Hadzi Ba Zizin Moisi. If Papa Amar Shi'im Ratzul Liv Nosalia Al Gaba Boyne. Rish Lakish says that this is to say that with regard to one who sells a house to another and says to him, I am selling you this house on the condition that the upper story is mine, the upper story is his. And in the Gemara's examination of Rish Lakish's statement, we said with regard to what halacha did Rish Lakish say this. In any case, the upper story is his, as when he sold the house. It was only the lower story that he sold to the buyer. Razvid says, he said this to teach the halacha that if the seller wishes to extend from the upper story projections over the courtyard, which was included in the sale, he may extend them. Rav Papa says, he said this to teach the halacha that if his upper story collapses and the seller wishes to build an upper story on top of it to replace it, he may build it. And if it enters your mind to say, Bistama lokani lamali almanas ahani le almanas to inafal hadar banele. If it enters your mind to say that when a house is sold without specification, the buyer does not acquire the depth and the height of the house. Papa's statement is puzzling, as why do I need the seller to stipulate that he is selling the house on the condition that the upper story is his, when in any event the space above the house remains in the seller's possession? The Gemara answers, stipulating that he is selling the house on the condition that the upper story is his. The upper story is his, benefits him in that if the upper story collapses, he may rebuild it. Without this speculation, the seller could not rebuild it, even if the sale did not include the depth and the height of the house. Mishnah, new Mishnah. Lo es habor v'lo es hadus afalpi shekasav lo umka v'ruma v'tzorech likach lo derech divrei Rabbi Akiva v'chacham orim eno tzorech likach lo derech. One who sells a house without specification has sold neither the pit nor the cistern, even if he writes for the buyer in the bill of sale that he is selling him the depth and the height of the house, as anything that is not part of the house, like pits and cisterns, must be explicitly mentioned in the contract, or else they remain in the seller's possession, and therefore the seller must purchase for himself a path through the buyer's domain to reach whatever remains his, because he has sold the area of the house along with the house itself, and he no longer has permission to walk there. This is the statement of Rabbi Akiva, and the rabbis say the seller need not purchase for himself a path through the buyer's domain, and this is certainly included in what he has withheld for himself from the sale. Umoder Rabbi Akiva's man she'amar lo chutz me'elu she'ein tzarech likach derech. And Rabbi Akiva concedes that when a seller says to the buyer in the bill of sale, "I am selling you this house apart from the pit and the cistern," he need not purchase for himself a path to the buyer's domain, since the seller unnecessarily emphasized that the pit and the cistern are not included in the sale. He presumably intended to reserve for himself the right to access to them, the right of access to them. Machran acher, Akiva Omer enot tzarich likach lo derech. If the seller kept the house but sold the pit and the cistern to another, Rabbi Akiva says the buyer need not purchase for himself a path through the seller's domain to reach what he has bought, but the rabbis say he must purchase for himself a path through the seller's domain. Gemara, the Talmud says, Yasiv Ravina v'kakashile, Hainu bor, hainu dus. Is related that Ravina once sat and examined the matter and posed a difficulty. A pit is the same as a cistern. Amar le Rava Tosfa'a Ravina. Rava Tosfa'a said to Ravina, Tashema Detanya, Echad bar v'echad dus bekarka, El shabar b'chavira v'dus bevinyan. Rabba Tosfa says Ravina coming here a solution to the question, as it is taught in Praita, both a pit and a cistern are dug out in the ground. The difference is only that a pit is constructed through digging alone, while a cistern is subsequently finished on the inside by building masonry walls. Okay, yeah, okay. It's similarly related. Okay, Yasir Vashi v'kakashile hain debor hanadu zamarle mar kashisha barei Rav Chiz l'Ravashi tashuma tetanya echad lebor echad dus b'karka al shebor b'chavira dus b'vinyan. It is similarly related that Ravashi once sat and posed a difficulty. A pit is the same as a cistern. Mar Kashisha, son of Rav Chiz, said to Ravashi, "Come in here." A solution to this question. As it's taught in Batra, both the pit and the cistern are dug in the ground. The difference is only that a pit is constructed through digging alone, while a cistern is subsequently finished on the inside by building masonry walls. V'tzarich likach lo derech. V'chachamim omrim eno tzarich. My law, the Mishnah teaches that and the seller must purchase for himself a path through the buyer's domain. This is the statement of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbis say the seller need not purchase such a path. What? Is it not about this issue, which we will immediately explain, that Rabbi Akiva and the rabbis disagree? And that's all for page 64a.